We've got Daryl from Clarksville, Tennessee. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show. How are you?
I'm great, Dave. Thanks so much for asking. It's an honor to be on your show.
Better than I deserve. How can I help?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Well, the thing is, Dave, I'm just having a really hard time saving money. I don't really ever do that. I bought a car using a loan. I bought a house using a mortgage.
Let me cut you off right there. Here's what you need to do. You need to spend less. Spend as little as you can. My 7 baby steps, you know them. $1,000 into your starter emergency fund. Pay off all your debt except the house. Then you're going to make your emergency fund even bigger. Then you're going to do some other things. Now, in the meantime, what I want you to do is spend less money, eat worse food, and then what I want you to do you have a side job? Do you have two jobs?
Yeah, I do.
You have 2? Okay, I want you to get a third job. Have you ever delivered pizzas? Do
No.
you deliver pizzas?
I've never done it.
All right, you need to start delivering pizzas.
When am I going to find time to do that?
Well, do it in the middle of the night. You can deliver pizzas from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. in most places. I'm sure Clarksville, Tennessee, they need pizza at 2 in the morning like everybody else. So you need to work your regular job. You get paid by the hour?
Yeah.
Great, good. That's how I like it. Work your job, work your second job, work your third job. Can you get a fourth job?
I mean, I guess. I don't know where I'm going to find
Hey, listen, you got to get gazelle intense. You want to get rid of your debt? You want to sell so much stuff the kids think they're next? You got to work. You got to work a lot. Now, I want you, what do you make per hour, basically?
$10.
$10, okay. So $10, you work 168 hours. There's 168 hours in a week. You can make a lot of money in a week working every hour that's available to you. So, I mean, that's what I would do. You know, hey, listen, you called Dave to ask what Dave would do. Now, what would Dave do? Dave would pick himself up by his bootstraps. He would continue to exchange time for money. Wait, Dave doesn't do any of this stuff. I mean, you know, what I did was different, but I'm going to give you different advice. What you need to do is you need to continue to exchange time for money and just keep adding on jobs and keep reducing the amount of money that you spend so that, listen, hey, here's the thing. How old are you?
42.
Okay, 42. Hey, in 30 years, when you're 72, you could have $1 million in the bank. Just keep working them 4 jobs every hour, put as much money aside as you can, delivering pizzas, and you'll be right on your way. All right. Hey, thanks for calling the Dave Ramsey Show. You know, one of these days, these people are going to learn. You got to just keep saving and work more hours. That's it. That's all I got for you. Thanks for watching the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hey, so I realize that being critical of Dave Ramsey, even in jest, could be sacrilege to a lot of people. And I don't mean to hate on the guy. He's been incredibly successful. But it's because he is selling his house that it made me think about him, and it made me think about the advice that he gives and how he really didn't get rich following the advice that he gives. So I'm going to talk in this video about how if you actually want to be rich, like Dave Ramsey rich, don't do what Dave Ramsey teaches. Do what Dave Ramsey does. He is selling his $15 million home in Nashville. It's beautiful. It's a big, huge house that he built. And you know, quite frankly, I'm glad that he's been so successful. He's worked very hard. He's done a lot of things. He's very influential, and he's earned his money. And the point is not to say that he doesn't need to be rich or anything. My point is to say that if you want to acquire and build the kind of wealth that he did, you cannot merely follow his advice, because what does he say to do? Dave Ramsey says to just save as much as you possibly can, spend as little as you possibly can, and over a lifetime, you're going to build wealth slowly, and maybe one day, because of his mythical 12% year-over-year compound interest thing that he still tries to peddle, you'll be rich when you're 175, right? That's his plan that he teaches. And I will say, it is incredibly helpful to some people. For example, when my wife and I first got married in 2011, we took the Dave Ramsey course in 2012, and it made a huge difference for us. We paid off a lot of debt, student loans, car loans, saved a bunch of money, and it set us on a path towards financial freedom and financial peace. And for that, I'm very grateful. But in order to actually build the kind of wealth that you want to build, particularly if you want to build financial independence where you're not beholden to a boss or independent on a job and a paycheck, but you literally have time freedom where you are making money apart from your input of time, then you have to think differently than what Dave Ramsey teaches. Now, let's look at what Dave Ramsey actually did, because what he did is the type of business that I think is kind of the best kept secret, although it's not really a secret anymore, but it's the type of business that I'm in. It's the type of business that any content creator who is doing courses and memberships and things like that is in, and that is, he didn't just become a financial advisor. He could have done that. He could have been a financial advisor where he meets with individuals for a set fee, works on their finances, sets up a plan, and then moves on to the next individual or the next couple. And had he done that, which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that kind of work, but he never would have been Dave Ramsey, and he probably wouldn't be selling a $15 million house right now, because there's only so many clients, there's only so much time, there's only so many of him to go around, there's only so many hours, right? So what did he do? Did he deliver pizzas? No. Did he take on more jobs? No. He started a business. And because of that business, he's able to leverage his time, leverage his efforts, and make a ton more money and scale that thing like mad. Because think about it. What he's doing is he's creating and he's been doing this for 25 years. He's creating the biggest audience that he possibly can, giving free, helpful advice on personal finance. And then from that massive audience where he's giving free advice, he's monetizing it in 1,000 different ways, right? Ad reads on his radio show, sponsorships, things like that. But then he also has this whole set of products that he sells. First was his books, right? He wrote books and he sold the books. And there's a lot of money in that, especially if you have a massive audience, you can sell a lot of books. And then from there, he released Financial Peace, which was really kind of an OG online course. It's an in-person course, but now it's online, it's hybridized, but he gets $129 per person who enrolls in that course. And he sells those things like mad. So now he's not just advising one couple in a living room, working on their finances. He's talking to hundreds of thousands, if not millions, and I think he's got an audience of several million on the radio. But even setting that aside, he's got a large audience, but that audience is monetized by selling them the same information that he would give to the couple sitting at their kitchen table, but he charges $129 for it, and he sells tens of thousands of them a year. So he's leveraged his time. He's created something called passive income, right? The holy grail of this whole thing. So Dave Ramsey's method for becoming Dave Ramsey follows a very predictable, clear path. He takes something that he has expert knowledge in his case, personal finance. He starts teaching it to people for free on the radio, okay? And in modern times, this would be YouTube, podcasting. It's just that when he started in 1980, whatever, it was radio. Now it's podcasting. It might be radio for some, but for most people, it's podcasting, it's YouTube, it's on social, it's all kinds of ways, blogging, that you can do this. So takes an expertise, begins to share it, widens that audience as wide as he can and as big as he can. Lots of helpful free content, bringing simplicity to a very complicated topic like financial literacy and financial planning. And then he begins to offer products, courses, books, live events. And then from there, he's able to make bukus and bukus of money and live in and sell a $15 million home. That business model is essentially all I teach on this channel. Take something that you're really good at, learn how to teach it to other people, and start building content, both free and paid, around that material. That's what I did with Preaching Donkey, right? I have a background in communication. I have experience as a preacher. And so I built a website, initially just a blog about preaching. And then I started a podcast and a YouTube channel to gather people who are interested in that topic, pastors who preach and who want to communicate better, who are open to coaching and open to coaching from me. And I give out tons and tons and tons of free content, but I also offer paid products through courses. And that's a way that I'm able to leverage my time. I build the course once, and then I sell it as many times as there are people to buy it. So my encouragement to you, if you're stuck in like a frustrating place where you're like, okay, I've got to get a handle on my finances, Dave has some really good advice to get started, right? He has some really good advice to get from a place of desperation to a place of feeling like, okay, now I'm in control. But to go to where Dave actually is, or anywhere close to it, you have to think beyond just piling on more jobs, more time, more delivering pizzas, more driving for Uber, because every time you do something like that, you're taken away from the ability to build a passive income stream that could earn you money for months and months and years to come. I love that he's selling a house. I love that he's been uberly successful. I just want to point out that if you want to be like Dave, don't do what he teaches. Look at what he actually does. So you might be wondering how passive income actually works, like if you wanted to get started, and I want to explain everything to you, and I'm going to do it in this video right here. So click on this video. I'm going to tell you how I'm averaging about $100 a day in completely passive income, not active, completely passive income, and I'm going to show you in that video how to do it. So click on there, and I will see you in that video. Better than I deserve. How can I help?